Hey. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Do you?
The wrecking crew is here.
Smell what's going on up in here.
Everybody looking good. Everybody
Good to
got
see
on
you,
their
good to
Sunday
see you.
best.
Yes.
What's up? What's going on, my boy?
What's cooking, Sean?
Right.
I got some cheese empanadas. I got provolone, mozzarella, and some diced green chilies in there with a cilantro lime crema. So it's really
Wait a
good.
minute, I
Smells
can't even
good.
pronounce that. Hold on, say that again.
Cilantro lime crema. Like Mexican crema, but I put cilantro and lime in it.
I want
which is
some. Oh.
who we got coming to dinner tonight?
Tonight we got Jamal Sims coming by, filmmaker, director, choreographer. He's doing lots of big things in Hollywood.
Okay.
All right now.
He was on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Absolutely.
Hey, yo, I wanted to ask y'all, what are y'all thoughts on the acceptance of gays in Hollywood?
The new world.
Yeah, it's more visible, more people taking roles, especially for the blacks, you know, that there's some new visibility in different genres, transgender, and...
What a moment in time.
Yeah,
Well, I
right,
think
right.
we got to talk about that.
Yeah,
about
I mean, you know, sort of art
thanks for
imitating
that.
life.
I agree, Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you
Looks
so
good.
much. This looks fantastic.
Grandma.
So Sean brought up an interesting topic. You know, what do you guys feel about where you think we are as far as gays in Hollywood and as it relates to representation?
Well, I think that we are seeing a boost, that there's definitely a movement. I love some of these shows that's showing different categories of gays, so that now, you know, from the shows,
Pose.
Orange is the New Black, you
Yeah.
know, so that then these areas in which you're now getting different entrees into what might be a window into the lifestyle. And
Did
then,
you hear that word, entree? To live to see a time like this in our life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And not
and
just
there's-
in front of the camera, you know, behind the camera as well, when you talk about people like Lee Daniels and
Yes.
Janet Mock.
I just want to reiterate, you talked about diversity of gays, and a lot of times people think that we're one thing, but there's a show, P-Valley, there's a character, non-binary. I don't think that's ever been seen on TV. It's a man with a beard and wears wigs and hair, and it's like, is it a drag queen? No, it's not a drag queen.
right.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. Looks really interesting.
Do you ever choose to wear wigs? I mean,
I do. I don't necessarily go out in public in them. I like to perform I do live streams.
well, let's get you out in public
I
with
think you
them.
might have to come up in here in a wig.
That's what I'm talking about. Come into the house. You gotta come to the house, bro.
Right, right.
Okay.
I will. You're going to have to lend me one.
I got a lot of hats made of hair.
There you go.
Okay, I call them hats made of hair.
Hats
I
made
got
of
you.
hair.
I got
You know, the other thing that's really cool too is to make room for some of the blacks that are in Hollywood. I've seen this recent surges of whites that are in black roles, like some of those cartoon characters where it's black cartoon characters, but they're white voices. And some of these people are actually stepping down and saying, we're not
Can
going
you
to do
believe
this.
it?
In fact,
can't
I
even
think
believe it.
Halle Berry
Didn't take a role.
didn't take a role as a transgender character because she wants to be respectful of that. So what
It's
is
gonna
that?
take all of us. And when we see a move like this, our white brothers and sisters are stepping down saying, hey, we can do this instead.
I agree with you. I think it's this opportunity to take action as opposed to just saying, you know, I'm anti-racist, I'm anti-racism, but saying this is something I can do to help forward the movement. And where I sit in a position where I can make a decision, because Halle Berry can make a decision to turn down a role.
can.
What if it's an up and coming who doesn't have that kind of clout and maybe that kind of stability
Exactly.
and don't have the same opportunities to make those kind of choices?
Exactly.
So sometimes, you know, things happen and we parrot that like the norm,
true.
but we have to think about who has the freedom to do that.
It's a point that you get tired of feeling rotten inside. It's got to be a heck of a thing to live with the mindset of because of skin color, but it's just like a joke.
But then,
you know?
but is this a slippery slope? Because, you know, Acting 101, there was a book years ago that was called Acting is Believing. I'm not sure if that's still, you know,
I'll look it
in
up.
publication,
Tell
but
you what.
that was kind of the foundation for acting. Acting is believing. So now with this, is now acting reality?
You know, this is a good
good
point
point.
because I
Good point.
remember when hip hop started to really become mainstream and you had people casting hip hop artists in movies for marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
And actors were a little put off by that. You know, these people have worked very hard at their crafts, et cetera, and then you have names just being put in films or being marquee names just because of their music reach.
Right.
And so to me, this is kind of similar, where, okay, what about if you're an actor, you should be able to play any role, right? And if you're good, you should be able to be convincing.
Well, you know what, Tony, gone are the days of supermodels because they were replaced with actual actors and actresses, so that then, you know, it used to be, you know, the Linda Evangelistas and Naomi Campbells and Cindy Crawfords, and then now they've used real actresses instead of models, so that then that way, sometimes then people lose out who had a lane because they keep wanting the person who's actually the most visible at the moment.
They said that happened with Insta models. But you know, back to the point of youngsters with social media, they in love with somebody in China, never met them. I just wouldn't want to be that person who is tricked into believing, oh, you're less than. That's a rottening to the core of the soul. And I think that's what's happening.
So I believe the same thing. I always look at the news and I see all this activism, you know, all these white people pouring into the streets. And I say, I hope that they are not doing that for me, but doing it for themselves.
To heal.
Yeah.
If it lasts just one more second, Black Lives Matter written in front of the White House that our ancestors built.
Well, you know, and there's some debate about if some of those people were agitators and not even really there for the movement, but to also cause some ruckus. So, you know, that's also a whole nother, yeah. So.
But you know what happened was we were all suddenly jailed. And suddenly everybody was a minority. Even the ones that had the boats, the yachts, the plane, we were all one. Yeah. So many people jumped out there today with a sincere desire. Why? Because we all were one. Everything shut down. So it's a new time.
Very good point.
I believe in this. And like I said, if it lasts one more second, at least we got to hear it in my lifetime.
Cheryl, how do you see it being different as we reopen, as we come back together?
You know, I just think we really are watching good and evil at war.
Cheryl, why don't we come back and pick up on that? 'Cause I think you
Okay.
just touched on something.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
we'll be
We
right
gotta
back.
leave the house.
We don't have to leave.
Just saying.
Eat
Okay.
your crema, girl. Eat
Come
your
on.
crema.
How you pronounce it?
Crema.
Crema.
Like
Come on,
criminal.
say it
Remember,
again.
you know that.
What you say? Oh, I can't.
Were you embraced as a child?
I was.
You were encouraged.
For sure.
How do you think that influenced your trajectory in your career?
It's huge, huge, huge.
So Cheryl, before we went to break, you were about to tell us about this idea around good and evil. But before we go there, can we take a minute to just take in the food for a
Thank
second?
you so much.
Right, Sean outdid himself again.
Oh, Sean. Let's give it
Smells
a
so
Sean.
Absolutely. So go ahead, tell us what you were going to say.
What I was saying was that good and evil are at war. We see COVID, we see everything melting away. So many have lost jobs, sick, but really it's an experience that we can't help but embrace.
Right.
Which brings gratitude and keep your faith.
Right.
Because they say good always wins.
That's what they say.
They say it.
That's what they say. You know what? I believe Jamal is here.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh my God.
Yo, yo, yo,
How you
yo.
doing?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, come on in.
How you
All in the house.
In the
Look
house.
at you.
In the
In
house.
the house.
Get some of the sanitizer.
All right, conscious too.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, y'all. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Mwah.
Oh, you better
Good to
believe
see
it.
you guys. Thanks for having me. Brought a
Okay,
little guest, you know.
I like big bottles and I cannot lie. Okay.
But wait a minute, put
Yeah.
the bag. Let's see, can it match the suit? Come
Coordinate.
on.
You gotta coordinate.
You know how we do.
Oh, what you say? That's how y'all do it. The
Fashion
water.
first. Fashion
Look at
first.
That's how you do
You know
it.
how we do, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
welcome.
What you got here, Sean?
So what I got for you guys today is carnitas pork tacos. I got a roasted corn and black bean salsa over there on the tostada, and then Spanish rice. And for our vegan friend, I gave you a triple bean taco there.
All right.
And your rice is a little
Okay,
different.
okay, I appreciate
All right,
that.
enjoy.
Thank you,
I'll
Sean.
put this on
Looks
ice for you guys.
fantastic.
All right.
right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. All right.
So I was been looking at your stuff, your interviews online, and every interview you are just decked out.
Oh,
So I
man.
definitely consider you a style icon.
Thank you. Thank you. That's huge. That's huge. You know.
Where is your inspiration from?
It comes from everywhere. Honestly, I'm an artist, so you know, I don't ever stop just because I dance or choreography. I love fashion. I love, if I had hair, I'd have different hairstyles every
we
day.
love your
But
hair.
you know what I mean? But you know,
Right.
that's what I just feel. I just feel like it's all expression, right? And I love color, I love prints. So I'm just inspired by a lot of different stuff. So if I see something out there, I'm usually probably gonna pick it up if it's unique and feels like it's me, you know,
Were
represents.
you embraced as a child, an artistic child?
I was.
Okay.
I was.
You were encouraged.
For sure. I was the
That's so
one.
important.
Two-parent household?
Yeah, two-parent household. They're still
What?
together right
That's
now.
hard. Oh, still
yeah,
together
mom
now?
and dad still together. Yeah,
What a
yeah.
blessing in the
Yeah.
Black community.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
They would call
We're
me
gonna
out
have more
during
of
these
that.
parties in the 70s, and they'd be like, Jamal, come on out here. And I'll be in the room just waiting, and come on, do that little spin and that split, you know, for everybody, you know. So it was encouraged from like, those are my earliest memories of dancing, is like at house parties and stuff like that.
For the house
How do you
party.
think that that being supported by your parents,
Yeah.
how do you think that influenced your trajectory in your career?
It's huge, huge, because your parents are your first, like, that was my first idol, my dad. You know, my mom, like, I idolized them. And so for them to be able to say, you can do this, you can do whatever you put your mind to, just gave me the courage to keep going. You know what I mean? To do it, you know? And I didn't think that I couldn't. So, yeah, that was all them.
You know, they say fashion is fun.
Yes.
And you have a lot of fun with it.
Oh, I do.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
I do. It's so much fun. You know, I like to push it a little bit, and I
ain't
think
scared?
that, yeah, no, never scared. You can't be scared. You know, and people feel it, right? When you walk in the room, you have to own. If you're wearing a pink suit, you got to own the pink suit. You know, and there's nothing anybody could say from there.
When
At that
did
point
that
on, all they
happen
can
for
say,
you?
oh, it's nice.
What, like, at what stage? From little on up, or was it a?
From little, I remember. Do y'all remember Jordache?
Oh, yeah.
Right there, the
Don't
brand
say
Jordache
that
like that.
ourselves, but yeah, I remember
And I
Jordache.
remember I was in 3rd grade and had to have some Jordache jeans. And my mom was talking about, you supposed to be in tough skins. And I was like, no, I'm having some Jordache. And so she bought them, and they were actually too big, and the cuff went up to my knee. But I still rocked them at school, you know what I mean? They was too big, the waist is too big. Yes.
Can't tell you nothing. What'd you say?
So
I love
that was beautiful. I mean, it's always been a thing for me.
Sort of like having a voice, you know, through even styles.
Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
I know that that's kind of what we were talking about right before you got here, these Black voices in Hollywood and how they're impacting a lot of change and creating lanes for the Black gay community. And so how do you feel your voice has been making an impact where you're at?
Yeah, well, you know, just from the beginning, I always felt like we as Black people have always been the ones to set the trends, you know, from music to fashion to dance. And because I was a dancer, I remember in high school, I was popular because I could dance, you know, and I went to a predominantly white school. So all the white kids wanted to dance in my talent shows and wanted to dance with me. And so even from that point, I knew that I had something that was powerful, that people wanted to be a part of. And so going into Hollywood, I knew I was bringing that to Hollywood.
Where you
know?
from?
From here, I was born and raised in Pomona, California.
Okay.
And then raised in Rancho Cucamonga.
Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, Rancho Cucamonga. That was before all the outlets and everything. It was just vineyards. There was nothing there when I was there. So I think I brought that to the industry. Not me alone, but you know, I always felt like because I was Black, it wasn't a negative. It was a positive. It was like they're gonna want what I have.
How about being gay and coming into the
Now
industry?
that's another story.
Even as a dancer.
Yeah, even as a dancer, because, as a choreographer, as a dancer, not so much. You know, my first job ever was with Michael Jackson. Remember the Time music video, right? So it was actually a video that was all Black. So that was my entry into this industry was with Michael Jackson on an all-Black cast. You know, Iman, Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and Michael, my idol. So that was like, okay, well, this is really not what it is, right? It's not always gonna be all Black people. You know what I mean? You know, John Singleton directing. So I knew that wasn't gonna be it. So once I started to go into the industry, I realized that I was fine as a Black gay dancer. But when I started to choreograph, I knew that I had to be closer with the artist, and hip hop became a world that I was in because I danced hip hop. So I had to be careful about how much I let them know about my sexuality. So although I was never really closeted, I just didn't speak about it because I didn't want to lose a job. Yeah.
Is that different today?
World.
It's different from me now, but
yeah.
I still see, artists, actors, dancers, choreographers that don't want to reveal themselves because they're afraid that, they could lose their jobs.
Wow,
Yeah,
even now?
Yeah, even now, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that I've lost jobs because I was gay. I know that probably, 1,000 jobs have gone by because they didn't want to be, you're guilty by association. If you're a rapper and you have a gay choreographer, it might say something about you, right? So maybe I didn't get that job.
That's a
I
hard
don't know
way to
about it.
think about it too, but it's real, isn't it?
Yeah. So who knows?
Do you fault people for staying in the closet for that reason?
I don't fault them. I used to, though, just to be honest. I used to be like, we need representation. We need as many people, but everybody in their own time, right? If you're not ready, I know I was 27 when I came out to my mom and dad. So that's a long time to be closeted.
That's a long time.
I didn't want to disappoint.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was their reaction?
My dad said, "Oh man, I knew that." Yes. When you was 13 years old.
You got them Jordan.
Should have known then. Should have known then. Yeah.
Nobody really understands how it is if you haven't been there to be, I always think about, and I'm a little older, than all of you at the table, but it was a song, and it said, I'm a girl watcher. And I was young, and I used to be looking at a girl's behind, and I would be like, you're not supposed to do that. And even from a little kid.
Yeah.
When you come out, when you're in that closet, it's torture.
For sure, yeah.
Yes.
There was times that I would have these conversations with God and be like, why me? Like, why? It felt like a curse, right? Something that felt so heavy. Something that felt like I would do anything. If you just tell me what to do, I will just not to be gay.
I'll start crying right now, stop.
Me too. I already was about to go there
Go.
because you just reminded me of my history.
Yeah.
When I first felt like I was gay in college, and I used to, I was very religious at the time, and I still am.
Yeah.
But so I would pray, God, please take this away from me.
Yeah.
I would pray
Every
every
day.
single
Yeah,
day.
me too.
And eventually, I said, okay, God, I'm tired of this prayer.
Yeah.
So let me change my prayer. If you're not going to take this away, change the way that I feel about it so that I can go to sleep at night with peace. And guess what? That happened.
That's amazing.
That's
This is a
Wow.
moment of education. Do I really want to have this desire, or is it there and meant to be there?
Yeah.
How do you create it? The energy like the wind. You don't see it, but you feel it.
Feel it.
So you'll see somebody and be like, damn,
Yeah.
fine, and then somebody else treat you better, but you don't like them.
Right.
The leaves blow, but you don't see it. So if you could, you would do with your heart.
Yeah.
Would you guys say that a lot of that is us wanting to create a sense of normalcy for our families? And I know that for you, finding marriage.
Yeah.
And that then becomes a way of still having the same path that are seemingly traditional.
Sure.
And so how was that journey for you?
Well, let me just go back just a little bit to what you said in the beginning was, do I think that it was just was I trying to just fit into the norm, right? Just,
Right.
And I think it was deeper for me because, we didn't go to church every Sunday. When I would go to church, the things that I was taught was that I was going to hell.
Ooh.
So I didn't feel like I deserved to go to hell by having these thoughts about men, you know what I mean? So I just didn't think that it was fair, and I felt like, why do I have this? Why am I carrying this weight from 12, 13? I remember these conversations. So I want to say that was more, not so much about fitting in, because I never really I always tried to be a leader, right? I always tried to, the Jordan jeans, again, going back to that.
Right
I was the
on,
one
and
setting the
rocking those
trends.
cuffs
Yeah. I was doing that from a young age, so it didn't matter to me about what other people thought. I thought about just my relationship with God and how that fit in for me, So that was important. And then once I started to meet other gay people and people that were living proud, and I started having these conversations, I was like, and I actually met RuPaul Charles, and I did a job. I auditioned for a show that he was doing in Vegas, and to be a background singer and dancer. I'm not a great singer, but I made it work.
Okay. I can relate.
Just like you did those Jordan.
Exactly.
It's in your blood.
Make it work.
Let's get the job done.
Yeah. So I remember auditioning for the job, and I got the call. I got they gave me the job, and I had to call my dad. And this was before I had this conversation with him. And I said, hey, I got a job with dancing for RuPaul. And he said he didn't know about RuPaul. And he said, okay. And I said, well, he's a drag queen. And he said, okay. And then he said, is it paying you? I said, yeah. He said, oh, well, I'll see you in Vegas. And I think at that point, it kind of just a little bit said, my dad might be okay with this, But when I met him, he had George, his husband, Rue's husband now, they were together back then. And it was the first time I saw two men operate in just a normal way, just going to the store and picking out stuff at the mall, you know what I mean? And it just felt like, okay.
Love taps.
Yeah. Sometimes I could see, sometimes representation, sometimes just seeing that is all you need, right? It's just having something to be like, oh, I can be like them. I could, it's normal.
courage.
It's two people that just love each other. So that was my first, and so speaking on the marriage thing, so at that point I knew that I could have this. I could be married to someone, and that was my,
And you said normal, Chris. You said the word normal, and as soon as I hear it, I often say, we know no one's normal, because normal doesn't exist. We are all as unique as our fingerprint.
That's right.
It's only one of you.
Ooh, that's
right?
great. Amen.
So we're all different.
Yeah.
And that's being normal.
I think with that, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And then come back.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back.
I love this food. Look at here.
Okay.
I've already been eating. I'm sorry,
I was raised in a very toxic environment. My father beating the heck out my mother. I wish she had went, because it drove me into drugs. It drove me to jails and hell.
How you liking the meal?
Good, really
You know,
good.
it's interesting. I had told Chef Sean that you were vegan.
No. I'm not vegan. You know what I say? I'm not vegan. I just stopped eating meat because I think with vegan, you box yourself into
much responsibility.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Lifestyle.
So yeah. So I don't like labels. I don't like to be boxed into anything. So I'm not gonna say vegan, but no on the meat right now. Yeah.
I swear that I only eat. All I'm down to, because I stopped eating meat, I'm only down to shrimp and lobster. And I just bit into this taco and I got, this is delicious, and I kept right on eating it.
There you go.
It's very
Look,
good.
that's why you can't box yourself in. You know what I mean?
You never know what you might do.
Exactly. You never know.
Right, sure.
Tell the world.
You know, I wanted to ask you about, I know that you were married.
Yes, yep.
And I myself was married as well. And I got married in 2008 when gay marriage first, I hate that term, but when gay marriage first became available.
Sure.
And then that was in October of 2008. And then it was shut down in November.
Yeah.
And because Prop 8 passed, and so it was on hold. But all of the marriages that had happened in California, I think it was 17,000, remained intact. So for that period of time, we were in this thing, right? So fast forward to the Supreme Court decision in 2013, and then you not only got married in 2014, but you got married in a big way. So why would you tell us about it?
Yeah, a little subtle ceremony, at the Grammys of 2014, in front of 60 million people. Yeah, we decided to go a little small on that. It was when it decided to overturn Prop 8. Yeah. We were at a restaurant and we were talking about what had happened and how it was time for us to really to do it, to make it real, because I had watched this documentary about it was a gay couple and one of them passed away, and but when he was in the hospital, the other one couldn't go see him when he was dying. And because you had to be either a relative, a mother, brother, sister, but a boyfriend couldn't go back there. And so that's why we decided to make that a priority for us. It wasn't so much the marriage, but it was just, we needed to have the rights.
You wanted all the rights and responsibility. I think it's 260 something.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I was looking for right there.
260 rights?
Oh yeah, that goes along with marriage. It's about 260 something rights and responsibility.
And look, Antonio and I had a conversation. I told him, don't say the M word to me. That's the only mistake I haven't made. And he was like, well, we did it for other. I was like,
M word.
What is it?
You call it the M word?
I call it the M word, right?
Yeah.
A job you don't get paid for, right?
So when you get married on the Grammys in
Yeah.
front of 60 million people,
Yeah.
what kind of pressure does that put on a marriage?
Yeah, a lot of pressure, right? Everybody's looking at you. But again, because I was kind of in this world of entertainment, I didn't really think about it too much. It felt like normal, you know. I mean, we're gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna make mistakes, and we did. We made a lot of mistakes, but we also did a lot of great things together. You know what I mean? There were so many times that people would come up to us and say, because of you guys, we were able to get married, or I was able to propose to my partner, and so those are the things that are valuable.
Most
you know?
important in life.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that happened. I mean, we dissolved the marriage right as soon as quarantine came in with the bang.
Lord.
Yeah,
Not Rona shut it down.
Rona shut us
Rona shut
down.
it down.
Yeah. On the first week, our divorce was finalized, and it ended the chapter. But our friendship is still amazing. And I'm not saying the TV version. This is the real version.
Wow.
We decided that our relationship had transitioned, and we were better friends than we were partners. And so we decided to just
That is so
end
powerful
that.
because so many people stay together
Yeah.
and they're not happy.
No,
they
can't
stay
do
for the
it.
kids. I was
Yeah.
raised in a very toxic environment, you know, family violence.
Yeah.
You know, my father beating the heck out my mother. My
Yeah.
mother's like, soon as you graduate as soon as I graduate, you know, and
You
it
gotta
took-
go now.
Yeah. I wish he had went, you
Yeah,
know, because
yeah.
it drove me into drugs. It drove me to jails
Yeah.
and hell.
Yeah.
Staying together when it's over. So.
I did not want that. That was something that I didn't feel like I have a lot of time. You know, we don't know how much time we have here. So happiness is my.
Was the pandemic at all a factor? Because I know a lot of people have had a lot of stress on their relationships, marriages, because they're now spending more time together than ever. Couples who one may travel a lot, and then now they're not traveling.
Well, the funny part about us is that he, for work, we had a home in Atlanta as well. He moved to that house. So we were already living in two different spaces prior to quarantine happening.
Got it. Okay.
So this wasn't a big, we kind of knew it was coming. It was on the horizon. I could see it. I think he could see it. And so we just officially did it right then. It was just, it was finalized during the quarantine. But it doesn't take away the pain of the loss, right? Because you're losing something that was precious to you. So there was me experiencing that as well as, what was going on during
You were
us.
so blessed that
Yeah.
it didn't turn into hatred, because it's
Yeah.
something else how you can love someone so much and then it turns to you despise
Yeah.
the same.
That's when you know you stayed too long.
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
that.
That's when you stay too long.
And also money will do that
Yeah.
too. Finance will.
See, now you're preaching and you're going to take that on to church.
So
Come on
what's
now.
new on the horizon? So then now that's one chapter that is
yeah.
closed. And so
Yeah.
now what can we expect from you moving
So
forward?
now I am a single man.
That part.
Yeah. But in quarantine.
Jiminy
No,
Cricket.
but you know what I mean? Like, it's been crazy to be single, but then you're shut down. You can't see nobody. These apps, I don't know about that. It just doesn't, I don't feel like it represents me in the best way. I think I'm better live and in person than I am typing, all it's terrible. So anyway, so now I'm directing. I had 25 years as a dancer choreographer, and now been able to do some really great projects. And when I started getting into film, I decided that I knew how to shoot dance sometimes better than some of the directors I was working with, because I know dance. That's what I know. And so to capture it on film was something that inspired me, something that I was passionate about. And so making this transition over the past 5 years has been, not the easiest road, because when people see you as a choreographer,
They want you in the
they just want to
box.
be there.
Better believe it.
But again, no, I don't believe in boxes. So what you have to do is you have to show them, okay, so I took all my money and I did a passion project called When the Beat Drops.
I feel like clapping. We know what that means.
Hey, no.
We know what that means when you say that.
Yeah, you know,
Shoot.
yes,
I'll
absolutely.
take all your dough.
What would you say you're most proud of in your life?
I'm most proud of my relationship with my family. You know, I see so many people that have strains and don't put family first, and I believe my family is what gave me the gift that I have now. So without them, I don't think that I'm nothing. I don't think I'm anything. You know what I mean? Like, I need them. So we have a great relationship. I you know, in the morning I'll wake up and sometimes mom and dad are at my door and they're like, let's go to breakfast, or, you know, and then it's a
Everyone
really...
doesn't have that.
No.
That is
I
so
don't have
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
No.
So I value
So
that.
that's good.
Any children in your future?
I thought I did. When I was married, I had these ideas of kids and, you know, the whole thing. But I think now I'm nearing 50, so I'm 49 now. I'll be 50 in January. I
January
think
what?
January 7th.
Okay, I'm the 9th.
Oh, come on, Capricorn.
Capricorn.
So you say no.
Yeah, so I think that I'm just gonna enjoy the second half.
Oh, I heard
And I'm gonna travel and I'm gonna direct movies, and I don't know that I have the bandwidth to
Almost
take on.
unfair.
Yeah.
So in your career, has there been one accomplishment that you're just like, that's my...
Yes. So as of right now, my documentary, When the Beat Drops, is a big accomplishment for me because it was something that I was passionate about, something that I took all my money and put it into, and then to see it, I shot it over 5 years, and when we entered into our first festival, we won in Miami, we won the Nights Award, which was like one of the big awards for the festival. And every festival, even out LA Outfest, we won. So,
This year?
Yeah. No, it was 17. Okay. I'm proud of that, and
That's your baby.
that's my baby. Yeah. You know, when you believe in something and to see it come to fruition and to see people love it and be inspired by it, there's nothing that beats that to me. You know, and so now I'm just ready to do my first feature. Go ahead.
You guys are friends.
Yes.
So they ask each other questions all the time.
Yeah. No, actually, you know, Antonio
Tell us about Antonio.
is amazing. You know, I think about how the universe, and I believe in manifestation, I believe in putting things out there, and all of a sudden, the universe has a way of bringing people into your life for whatever reason. When I was going through my divorce, and me and Antonio were talking, and he was like, and I was just telling him that I was going to a therapist, and I was just trying to figure stuff out, and he was like, well, you know, that's what I do, you know, and I'm like, he was like, and I was like,
At your fingertips.
and I knew that, but then I didn't really think about, you know, the people closest to you. And he's like, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna have a conversation. We're gonna get some clarity in your life. And
That is so him.
yeah, and so
that word is what he used.
yeah, so the clarity that this man gave me, it ignited a flame inside of me that was like, I don't want to live in cloudiness and gray area. I want to know exactly what I want, and that's what the gift he gave me. So yeah, so I'll always be grateful.
And you said it earlier. It's just this moment, and now it's gone. Now we have this one. Oops, it's gone.
Yeah,
This is nothing to play with. Our lives.
No, absolutely not.
At that, I think it's the perfect time for us to take a break so
Yeah.
we can get ready for that wonderful dessert from Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
Come on in
go.
the house.
I always want to create opportunities for us to tell our story. So I was going to help them tell their stories, because if they don't do it, somebody else is going to tell it for them, and it might not be the right way.
What we got, Sean?
Well, I heard a rumor that we no longer have a vegan, so this is a milk cake. It's got some fruit in it, some strawberries, raspberries, and might be a banana or two in there. So enjoy.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Fruit cake is really
I mean, you
appropriate.
take such good care of us.
Yeah, I see.
Absolutely.
I'm staying.
One of the things that's been an interesting topic and has been this issue of appropriation, particularly in the arts. So we want to talk a little bit about that with you.
Yeah.
From your point of view, what's the difference between appreciation and appropriation? And if maybe you can speak to where you've encountered that.
Yeah, well, you know, I think that we as Black people, we're trendsetters. So there's always going to be people that admire what we do, our hairstyles, our music, So I think a lot of times it's admiration, you know? It just so happens that, you know, the white culture is the majority, so then it becomes, when they do it, it becomes a bigger, sometimes it has a bigger impact on the world. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. So, you know, I do think that is, it's a fine line right there. So with that being said, you know, I've had to do films, just recently, Aladdin being one of them, where I was taking, thank you, so much fun, I had a blast doing that movie. But I had the task of creating dance sequences that, you know, where I would take some Bollywood influences, I was taking belly dance influences, and I was mixing them with my influence of hip hop and jazz and, you know, all the dance styles that I knew. So I call this a fusion of, and a celebration of all the cultures together. And that's what Aladdin represented to me. So I don't know that if one culture is doing one thing, that we can't be a part of it or that we can't do it. I think that we should be able to give our take on what that feels like for us. And I think that other cultures should be able to do the same, you know? It's all admiration. I don't, you know, not all the time, but sometimes it's, you know, direct. I'm taking that and I'm gonna make it mine like I created it. And I've seen that before happen, and that's not good. But not all the time is like
So it seems like the motive of the person
I think that's
determines whether it's
absolutely.
appropriation.
Good point.
Do you think we should try to find out what the motive is? Because usually we react, particularly in our current social media,
Climate.
Twitter.
That's
We come to a conclusion about a
Very
person's
quickly.
intent.
And I think you're right. I think we need to be aware and look deeper and at least give that person a chance to say, no, I really,
Well, and sometimes what we do is we presume it's just about appropriation when, in fact, it can be an opportunity, and that opportunities are created. I know that was one of the debates around the ballroom scene,
I was just thinking
and when you've got those dancers from Madonna's Vogue, and the criticisms of the appropriation in that, but an opportunity was also given to those dancers to go worldwide with her and become visible.
I will say that, and I'm coming back to my documentary because my documentary is a dance documentary about bucking, and that's a style of dance that the majorettes were doing in the HBCUs, the Black colleges in the South.
Okay.
And the women were doing it. The gay boys in the South have taken it and we're going into the clubs, and we call it J setting, but
what now?
J setting, right? But
Prancing elites.
Yes. So they had a show, but bucking is the real term is bucking. So when I went down to do this show with them, I mean, the documentary, I thought they were going to be like, whoa, let's do it. It's going to be a fun thing. They didn't want to do it. And I was like, huh? And they were like, well, some of us have jobs. Some of our families don't know that we're doing this. So they weren't really interested in doing the doc. But what I told them was, what we have to do is I always want to create opportunities for us to tell our stories. So I was going to help them tell their stories, because if they don't do it, somebody else is going to tell it for them, and it might not be the right way, right?
That have that visibility.
Absolutely, they have the visibility. So I think going back to voguing and, you know,
Which we were doing back in the clubs back in the day.
in the 70s, right? So
79, 80, baby.
Yeah.
That gave you a break on the dance floor. We be tired and sniffing those poppers. Oh, baby, you stopped and just
Getting
struck
it
a
in,
pose,
yeah.
you know.
Hold for 2 minutes.
It wasn't just dance. It was.
Pose was to catch your breath.
Oh, was to catch our breath.
I love the fact that voguing and whacking is coming back.
Yeah.
Because for a while I've been saying the young people today, they only have one dance. What is that?
Yeah.
Grinding.
All of it.
twerking.
Yeah,
Twerking.
grinding, yeah.
If you look at the youngsters
Look at
dance,
it twerk.
that's all they do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's time to dance.
Hey.
I'm like, I grew up with the Running Man, the Cabbage Patch, the
RoboCop.
Hello.
Yeah.
We had names. We had a whole variety.
Yeah. No, it's
You twerk well, by the way.
That was the best twerk I've ever done, by the way.
So we don't have to see it again, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm a
I
retire
want to
it.
see it.
You know, when you were talking, Jamal, something that came to mind was this idea we live in a capitalist society. So I thought of commercialism, because a lot of times what's underground becomes commercialized, and that's really about driving capitalism.
Yes.
And oftentimes the people who are in the position to do that happens to be certain groups of people. And I think that the frustration is that what ends up happening is the people who launch it or the pioneers don't reap the financial rewards.
And you know who comes to mind? I can't do anything but side with Little Richard in them. You know?
Oh yeah, back in that
man,
period.
That's
it
what
was-
first. That's the first. So I'm glad you put it that way. You borrowed from Bali.
Yeah.
And so now I can think about it because the first thing I think about is they died broke, baby.
Yeah.
died broke.
No, and once we get these opportunities, if we get the opportunity, we don't have the education to know how to invest our money or what to do with this amount of money. You know what I mean?
Now you come back to the house so we can talk about that. Scared to death to get a dime.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
literally, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Balancing my checkbook is
Yes.
something I don't actually do.
Well, I
have an idea of what's
What
there.
it is, yeah.
But it's a whole nother world, finance.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
And
That is
that's
true.
Spooky. 'cause
I've seen it.
I hear a fool and their money shall soon part.
Yeah. And I've seen it time and time in this industry. I've seen artists come into this industry and blow up and have a hit, and we're touring the world, and I see them a year later and they have no money and they're on the midnight train to Georgia
Well,
back
how
home.
did you establish that in your mind? Your parents, once again, right?
Yeah, no, it was them. My dad's kind of extravagant. He likes nice things and nice cars. So I did get that side from him a little bit,
So your mom is more.
But she was the one that, was like, okay, well, maybe you should do this and invest in property. And I did do that, but I don't know that I have done the best job. I do what I can.
Respect you for saying that. You gave me hope.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing for me.
Process.
It's just something we just didn't learn in school. It's just like, well, at least for me.
And we should.
Yeah.
And then we learn math, science, history, but not how to put words to feelings.
Yeah.
So I speak in juvenile halls, foster homes, prisons, but in juvenile hall, we're sitting with 20 youngsters who's committed murder. And we ask the question, so show of hands, the difference between anger and violence. And no hands go up.
Right.
And so, anger is an emotion and violence is an action.
Yeah.
But how do we put words to feelings? How do we learn early on so when you get some money, you don't,
Yeah, you don't
run
waste
through
it. Yeah, you don't run through it. Yeah,
It's another language.
it
What,
is.
Yeah,
money.
it really is.
Money, right?
Yeah,
Finance
right.
is another language. I say that's the last closet.
Oh, that's
That's
right.
the final closet.
Are you all good? Everybody else, how do you feel about finance? Are you
Oh
aware?
no, I'm not. No, I'm not good with that at all.
Our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something that I was groomed with. So,
Yeah.
and then in building a business, I had so many missteps and so many failures and setbacks, making bad decisions and then having to recover from them and figure it out. And what's very interesting is the idea that sometimes the perception, and especially in our community, is all about show and what it looks like, and and I'm sure and sometimes everything that glitters isn't gold. Sometimes it's just glitter.
Yeah, you love your shirt.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I don't want to cut you off, but I know that, you'll see people in our business, our people, that we know have a Mercedes and renting an apartment, a studio apartment. You know what I mean? Because it's about the perception of, well, I have a Mercedes on the outside, but he must be
tell
doing
you the
well.
truth.
With an Air Max.
I'm driving
Yeah.
a Jag right now.
Yeah.
Classic, baby. It's beautiful, and I'm into only 2 rooms. But I got it because someone had ran out of their money and I got it cheap. I flip
there you
cars.
go. Okay,
So
all
I
right.
did that,
But
right?
yeah.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
but
We
you
buy.
know, we have to get out of that mindset because the wealthiest people don't drive big luxuries.
They got T-shirts and jeans
They got,
on.
you know, they're driving them little small cars, and you know, and they got money in the bank.
Lots
you know,
of it.
and so I think we just need to flip how we think, and I think social media adds to that too. You know, so yeah.
Which is why conversations like this are.
I think we definitely need to look up some resources, maybe some organizations, and share that information about how people can learn how to manage their finances.
That's right.
Because
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
desperately need it in our community.
I agree.
Desperately.
I agree.
I think you wanted to say something about drag. Go ahead.
Drag race?
Yeah, I know you do.
So I know you know. I know you from Drag Race.
Yes.
I auditioned for Drag Race.
Really?
One time.
No,
we
I
won't.
speak all things drag. I love Drag Race. Yeah.
So, have you seen Honey Davenport's video about racism? Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see it yet, but somebody told me about it. I need to check it out.
Okay. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, you may not experience it because you're not a queen, but are you aware of it?
Hints of it, right? Because I'm not a drag queen, but I do know that it exists, and I know that it exists just being in West Hollywood too. I feel that. You know, we don't have a lot of clubs just being in our own community. There's one club that I think plays R&B and you know what I mean? So no, tell me about it. Talk to me. So what is this about?
No, it's just, you know, it's about the black queens.
Yeah.
They get death threats regularly. And it happens immediately. When they're announced that they're on the show,
Yeah.
that they're getting death threats. And the white queens are simply not.
And I've never heard of this.
But, but I think it's important to say and clarify that that's happening from fans. These are fans of the show.
Not
Yes.
rules.
So here, they're big fans of the show and they love everything that this
Yeah.
represents. But as it's a competition, one of the things that they do to kind of throw people off their square is they intimidate them and they
Yeah.
bully by threatening them and making them fearful of being fierce competitors.
Yeah.
And I think it's a scare tactic on one level, but it's also extremely terrifying.
And it's not the show. It's
This is the thing that I do know. When you're in the light, you have to be careful about what you read, reading comments like that, death threats. You shouldn't even be reading those things, right?
Thank you for the heads up.
And then this is what Rue says: unless they're paying your bills, pay them bitches no mind. That's what he
Preach,
says.
preach.
So if they're saying things or whatever that. You have to,
thick skin.
yeah, leave it alone because people are going to try to intimidate. People are going to try to do whatever they do, and these black queens are wearing it out. So they're hard to win. You know what I mean? They're hard. They make it hard to win. So that's the truth of the matter. I think that staying away from the negativity on social media is probably the best thing when you're in that competition and you're under all that pressure. Just trying to stay away. But I hate that it's like that. We should not be experiencing this in our own community ever.
Have you experienced any?
Yeah,
let's get ready to ask.
yeah, absolutely.
Being a star.
And like I said, just even going out in, a gay community, here in LA, in West Hollywood, feeling like, I remember I was walking into a club, one of the popular clubs here, and they said, make sure you pull your pants up, So making
Those kinds of statements.
Passive
statement like
aggression.
that, yeah.
Were your
And it's
pants
just saying-
sagging?
No, and they weren't.
I was going to say, you probably need to have your
No, I mean, come on now.
Obviously not.
No, they weren't. But if I was,
Right.
if I was, I should be able to wear my pants because in there they're wearing pants down their ankles. You know what I mean? Some, you know what I mean? Like whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm just saying it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? We have to be more inclusive as a community. And then they stopped wearing fitteds. You couldn't wear it to the back. You had to wear it to the front. And stuff like that. It just felt, you feel that divide, that racial divide. And I don't think that, it's just my opinion that we shouldn't be doing that in our own backyard.
Your opinion matters in the house.
We have a mutual friend, and you did an interview, and I also did an interview with him, and we talked about competition among gay black guys. And this is not just a gay black thing. People of all groups tend to find or make competitors out of people that are similar.
For sure.
Do you experience that?
Yes, I'm sure I do. I don't pay attention to this stuff. Like, honestly, like, if somebody's competing against me, it's the last thing I know about, you know, because if I'm looking back, I'm not moving forward. So if you're trying to catch me, then I
love it.
You're probably
love
going
it.
to if I'm doing this. But if I'm looking like this, you'll never get, you know what I mean? So like, honestly, if you ask me who did it, I don't know, but I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are people that are trying to take my spot now or do what I'm doing. But we all have our own trajectories, and where we're going is specifically designed for us, and no one can take that from you. And it's so weird to hear people are trying to compete. You know, I was like,
Instead
what's
of
for me?
collaborate.
Yeah.
No one could take.
Yeah.
Bullies are hurting.
Yeah.
They're hurting.
Hurt people hurt people.
When you see people who don't want to get along and love, we know it's
Absolutely.
just pain inside. And then you just love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you keep loving, eventually.
That's easier said than done.
Yes, indeed.
How do you love someone who's attacking you?
Well, first of all, you remove yourself from the environment, or you don't look.
Yeah.
Like you said.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's it.
The best thing you could do is not paying them any attention, because when they're over here hollering and you still laughing and loving and doing all this stuff, they get tired in a minute. The voice gets
it just
hoarse.
wears you
It
out.
wears them out, and then pretty soon they have to jump on board
Find
and be like,
somebody else.
Yeah, or
Or
find somebody
go
else.
away.
Yeah, either come on board or.
I called it the doormat syndrome. That's how bad it was in my life. I come from extreme self-hatred. Extreme. I came out the womb with a mom who didn't want me, who actually took care of her business, had an abortion.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. So I came out to such a strained disconnect that I didn't understand. And I was a doormat, to the point, doormat syndrome.
Wow.
And if you dog me, I came back to get some more. And then it took years of wanting to, and that's why I always say I've lived the pain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's amazing.
I think it's time to wrap everything up.
Well,
I have
you
to
know
come
what?
back.
We're gonna have to come have you
All right,
come
cool.
back.
As long as I
Absolutely. So we want to thank you for coming to the house.
Thank you for having me.
And once you come to the house, you're a member of the family.
That's
Yes.
We'll
right.
definitely have you come back. Thank you for the lovely gift. We appreciate
no.
that.
Thank you for the food. The food. Oh, so amazing.
Sean
think I'm the only one.
does as well every week.
Whomever needs to be loved, gonna come to the what? What is it called, y'all?
The house.
Oh, true that.
Cheers.
Look, I'm like, can we? Cheers. Air cheers. Air cheers. Oh.